We're at the park today, finally again, my favorite place in the world. We have things to discuss. Chris quitting his GLP1, Eli Lilly making totally random, crazy moves again, and more. So yeah, I'll see you when I get to my gazebo. Haven't been there in a while. See you in a minute. Okay, hey guys, welcome back to the channel for another video today for my weekly Mounjaro GLP1 just sort of chat. This is the video that I do every single week where I just sit and I talk to you guys about how my week went, about how Chris's week went. We're going to touch on him today, as I mentioned in the beginning, and just how, things that I want to discuss within the community and news and all of that. So if you are new here, my name is Brittany and I have lost, 110 pounds, crazy, on a GLP-1 over the course of the past 3 years. And I share all of that here and talk about all of the things, as I like to say. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and start with how my week went. So I had a pretty good week this week. This was my first full week at home by myself without the kids, being in school, and it was a good week. I got a lot of work done. I got a lot of personal reflection time to really think about things. I did 2 interviews last week. You've already seen one of them. And so for me personally, it was a good week. I'm really getting into my groove of being, I guess a stay-at-home wife, mom, who also works at home while her kids are in school. I'm getting into a groove of that. So on that side of things, I had a really good week. I did not lose any weight this week. I stayed the exact same, which is okay. I am okay with that. I am not necessarily trying to lose a lot more weight. I have been playing with maintenance for a really long time. I have been decreasing my dosage. Now, I told you guys that I went to my primary doctor for my little yearly checkup, and all my blood work was great and my weight was great, and it was 144 at his office, and he said, maybe it's time to start really looking at decreasing your dosage to find a maintenance level dose. Now, he is somebody that is really on board with staying on it for maintenance or not, kind of whatever individualized fits each person. And I love that about him. And he is fully in support of me staying on a maintenance dose. And it's just a matter of finding what that dose is for me, which can be difficult because I haven't been able to figure it out yet. So yeah, that's kind of the journey that I'm on right now, and trying to find my space in maintenance, and that can be more difficult than the actual weight loss itself. It can be a struggle to maintain weight loss. As all of us know who have been on any type of weight loss journey prior to now, we know that maintenance is always the hard part, and GLP-1 is no different. So that's kind of how my week went. I'm flourishing right now. I feel like I am at a point in my life at 36, almost 37 years old, where I am really coming into myself and who I am and what I want and what I stand for and all of that. And with that being said, before we jump into Chris, I do want to say that, if you did not catch the interview that I did with Melissa it posted on Thursday, I would highly recommend going back and watching that. So it was the last video that I posted. Melissa has such a story, and a story that I resonate with so much, and then I know a lot of you guys will as well. Little small trigger warning for SA and stuff like that, but her story is heartbreaking and encouraging and all of that wrapped into one. And I would highly recommend going and watching her story. And her story was the exact type of thing that I wanted to share on this channel. So if you are somebody who wants to share your GLP-1 journey, your weight loss journey, your childhood, into obesity journey, or if you're a professional or a medical educator in some type of way and you want to come on and educate the community, then please reach out to me. My email is always listed down below, but it is britslovelylife@gmail.com. Melissa will be on for a part 2. I have another one that I've already filmed with my friend Peter, who made the intro and the outro for this channel. So I have a couple coming, but I want to talk to more people. I want to get experiences and life and obesity journeys out there to raise awareness for what we are. I saw a video, The Downsize posted a video yesterday, and I don't always catch all of their videos, especially when they're on the weekend because I'm doing other things, but this one, the thumbnail of their video said, overeating doesn't cause obesity, obesity causes overeating. And that immediately made me click on it, because that's probably the most true thing and the most like resonating thing that I've heard about GLP-1s and obesity in a really long time. Like, you don't overeat to become obese. You have the disease of obesity and all of the precursors for the disease of obesity, which then caused you to overeat and be obese. And it was just so eye-opening. Again, they had a really good video. It's a little bit of a longer one, but I would highly recommend watching that as well, because they just have such real, raw, true, honest reflection of their journey. And I know that everybody is different in how they react to GLP-1s and how much weight they lose on their GLP-1 and how fast that happens and what they feel about them and whether or not they want to count calories or whatever. And the point is that space is for all of us, and the GLP-1 journey can look different for all of us. It is not one size fits all at all. And so I love to talk and hear stories and communicate with each other about all of these things. So definitely go and watch that video. But that quote is sticking with me. Overeating doesn't cause obesity. Obesity causes overeating. Like, beautiful, Chris and Lorraine. I thought it was beautiful. So moving on to Chris, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, he has decided that he is going to stop his GLP-1. If you are new here, my husband has been on a GLP-1 journey. He doesn't necessarily love to come on the channel. He's a little bit more shy than his better half, but he's lost, like 60 pounds at this point and has done really great. We've sort of spaced out his shots to every 2 weeks and every month and all that. And now we're getting to the point where he's ready for another injection. But yesterday he was like, I think I'm just going to kind of stop and see what happens. So I think that'll be an interesting journey to be able to document. It's been a few weeks, like 3 weeks since he's had an injection, and he says that he's still feeling fine. He does have a little bit more hunger. He's not opposed to, like an occasional small injection. A spider web flew at me. If he needs one, an occasional little microdose or 2.5 milligrams or whatever, if he starts to feel out of control. But he wants to try to do it on his own, and he is that type of person. And that's kind of what I was saying with, like, everybody's journey is going to look different. There's going to be some of us that stop our GLP-1. There's going to be some of us that are on it for the rest of our lives. It is not one size fits all. And so I am so on board with him and what he wants to do and how he wants to approach his journey, because it is personal. So encourage him if you so wish, and I will update on him and how he's doing. He weighed, he's holding steady right around 175 right now, which I know is lower than he wants to be. He wanted to be around 180. And so I think that, maybe he'll even gain back up to 180 or whatever that he wanted to be at. But 175 for him, he is like 6 feet tall. So it looks a little thin on him. And so I think he's just at the point where he's like, okay, well, I don't want to lose a ton of weight. I want to be healthy and not too skinny and not lose all my muscle mass. And so he's going to take a break for a while. So we will see how that is going forward. I'm really excited for him and his journey and how it's going to transpire for him. Eli Lilly, let's have a discussion about them for just a few minutes. I completely realize that I'm not the first person that has touched on this topic. I never am. That's not who I am in this community, right? Like the breaking news person. I like to see how Dave breaks news and how other people, that are better at that do, and then kind of touch on it after the fact. But there's been a lot going on with Eli Lilly. So if you don't know, they have the whole, Trump came down and said that the fair pricing, I forget the exact term of it, but the fair pricing, we in America do not need to pay more than what other civilized nations are paying for their medication. And so he essentially gave them a deadline of a time that they had to equalize pricing by, right? And so a lot of people thought that that would in turn create lower costs for us here. That was the sort of goal, right, that even the administration had with that topic. And what has come of that now, as we know, is that Eli Lilly has decided to significantly raise prices in the UK, 170%. Now, Dave and some others are of the opinion that what this is going to do, that it's all setting up the notion for, you know, raise prices in the UK, but eventually we will have lower prices here in America. And I don't know how I feel about that. I think that gets more into like an ethical type of thing. And I know that a lot of people don't necessarily think that ethics are, you know, I had somebody tell me recently that Lewis, who I love, he's very awesome in the community and in our Facebook group, he talks to us a lot, but that ethics are like opinions and everybody has one. And I do not agree with that. I am not of that belief. I think that ethics and morals are a very strong thing that should drive us all, and that is just not that everybody is the opinion of. So where I'm going with that is, I feel like what we get into is we're raising prices for the UK, who now is going to put GLP-1s out of reach for them, right? Like, there's so many people in all of the different comment sections that are saying that they no longer can afford. I know a lot of the September 1st is sort of the price hike date for the UK, and a lot of people are scrambling to get more refills and see how much they can get before that time comes. And it's almost like deja vu back to, you know, a year ago for us, where none of us could find our medication and we were all scrambling to find refills and stuff, and it feels very wrong. Now, I will say that I'm a very moral person. I fully believe in the moral compass and abiding by it, whatever your internal moral compass is. But it just is like robbing Peter to pay Paul. Like, we're going to make everybody else pay more, or the UK pay significantly more, so that our profits don't decrease here in the United States. I was researching yesterday for a video that I'm going to be doing later this week, where I was talking about the amount of Americans that are on a GLP-1 and how that translates man versus woman, and how it all translates into the fact that the profit margin in the United States is so much higher than it is the amount of people that are obese and eligible for a GLP-1 here, and now someone's gonna weed eat their yard, is so much higher than other countries, even in the UK, right? Like, the obesity level is not the same here as it is there. And I'm hoping he stops soon, but the ability to earn off of Americans is so much higher. So why would they lower prices in America and hurt their profit margin so much? I decided to start walking a little bit because that weed eater was driving me absolutely insane, so I'm sure it was driving you crazy as well. But to go back to what I was saying, you know, the profit margin in America is already so large, and let's not also forget that the profit margin in the taxpayers' dollars is what has funded further research. So there's this whole monopoly of, they use tax dollars to fund their research. They're making most of their profit off of the US. So why would they abide in that way by lowering prices in the US when they could just raise them elsewhere? And I know that, like, me saying this is not right, like, to me it feels dirty, right? Like, rob Peter to pay Paul, make everybody else pay more so that we can keep our profit margin where it's at in America. And I don't know that that's what's going to happen. Again, several others, Dave and several others, are saying that it's going to translate into lower costs for Americans. But doesn't that feel dirty to anybody else? Like, to me, that feels dirty. The biggest issue is that they don't have compounding in the UK, right? Like, Americans have found, and maybe that's the argument, Americans have the option of compounded GLP-1s, even though they've tried to limit that. I'm I'm of the opinion that that's not going anywhere, but maybe that's the whole argument, is that, well, you know, we can keep prices this way in America because they have the option to go and source compounded GLP-1s, but they do not have that option in the UK. The UK does not have compounded GLP-1s. And maybe that's an issue that needs to be addressed or rethought about or whatever. But again, the whole thing to me, you know, in order to protect your profits, you're increasing prices for everybody else somewhere else, which is completely taking options away from people because they don't have alternative options of GLP-1s like we do in America. So to me, the entire issue feels dirty, and I want to know what your opinion is as well. And if you're surprised that this is the way that Eli Lilly decided to go, I'm not necessarily, but honestly, I felt like they were just going to fight it completely and not do anything, right? Like I felt like it was going to be something that they just didn't fight, but that's not what has happened, or that's not how it has ended up going down. So I think I'm going to end this video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed coming along on a little bit of a walk with me this morning. We're back out in the sunshine now. I'm feeling so very positive about myself and my own personal journey, like I said, but I'm also now very sad for all of our UK viewers out there that are facing, you know, 170% price hike is a lot. And it's a lot for people that have already were struggling to afford the lower price and have found some way to work it in our budget or their budget, and now they're not going to be able to do so at all. I hope that everybody that is searching for some prior to the September 1st date is able to get it. I want to know if you're from the UK. If you're not from the UK, I want to know what your thoughts are. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I will see you guys in the next one. I have some good ones planned for this week, and we're going to talk to Peter as well this week. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.